nothing in store for you.
So hit record as you were saying that.
Oh, like God has nothing in store for you?
Yeah. That's a good gem for all of you guys out there.
Yeah,
if you listen to this podcast, God has nothing in store for you.
Yeah. Yeah, I hate each and every one of you.
Please leave.
Terrible people. Please support us.
Anyways, boys.
Yes.
Welcome back.
Welcome back to Working Title. Episode 9.
Coming at you again. Another steaming hot pile of shit.
Yeah, back with another semi-regularly scheduled programming.
Mm-hmm. Well, last week we were able to get both episodes up in time, so that's good.
I hurted my knee. Did I tell you that I hyperextended my knee?
I don't think so.
Yeah, I hyperextended my knee. And I think I just sprained it because I'm still able to use it. It just hurts real bad. Got out to check a kick that I threw, and instead of hitting shin to shin, it hit his shin to the middle of my knee. And my foot just kind of kept going. So my knee just kind of did a little extra bendy. And
we hate to see it.
Yeah, it hurt real bad. Anything new with you?
I don't think so.
No, very uneventful.
Yeah. But this time we're coming at you with a spot of creative juices, creative stuff. Yeah, creativity. As you can tell, we are very creative by the title of our podcast.
Oh, yeah. Yep. We get real creative with it.
Well, I mean, granted, it has just kind of stuck.
I like Working Title.
Yeah, Working Title, it's endearing, I think.
I mean, I'm also too lazy. I mean, every time I think of one, I end up either hating it or it already exists. So I've given up. I think Working Title is fine.
Yeah, I think that Working Title is just what we're going to have to roll with.
We'll start AI generating podcast names until we find one we like. That could be next episode. Naming our podcast with AI.
Cheating.
We have 2 tries. We have to name it one of those 2. Either you choose the first one or you...
No. What you do is you get it to make you 2 names. You flip a coin.
I was gonna say, like, it gives you 3, and you have the option. You can choose one of those 3, or you can flip one more time, and that one is the one you have to choose. It like generate one more.
Okay.
And if it's that one, you have to go with it. The only problem is, if we end up hating it, I know that I'm not just gonna leave it.
Yeah, exactly. It's like, listen.
Like, never mind.
It's funny for the bit.
It's good for the bit.
But anyways,
right.
So I've been feeling real creative as of late. Oh Jesus. Oh God, oh Lord. Sorry.
You know, they say yawning is Jesus giving up on you.
Well, you know, that makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, it's the power of Christ leaving your body.
Does he just constantly give up on me?
Yeah, it just depends. He always comes back, but one of these times he's not, and you'll never yawn again. You'll never breathe back in.
Then I'll know.
Yeah, the next time you yawn and don't breathe back in afterwards, that's when you know that he left for good.
That's how you know he's ceased his involvement with me. But anyways, I've been feeling real creative of late, so I've been trying to. I've been working on and off on this this world, I guess. It's not necessarily a story, but it's a collection of them, and I want to use it for D&D, which hopefully, you know, if I ever get around to actually finishing the game mechanics and stuff, I'll be able to record the party's episodes or the party's sessions.
So
I'll post them up here.
People can watch it.
Yeah.
D&D. That'd be interesting.
Yeah.
Interesting.
I mean, it's one of those things where it's like, you know, if we're gonna be doing it anyways, and it'll actually be easier for me because I'll be the DM.
Yeah.
And so I can just be like, oh, they said this here. I'll make a note of that.
Yeah, exactly.
So if I ever forget anything, I can just check my own self.
Yeah, I was thinking about, since that'll be kind of like your side project, or even then main project, and this be your side project, I think, I've been considering starting something. I'm not super creative, but starting something to record as my main or side focus.
Yeah, it's something else.
Because this doesn't take very much work, all in all.
No. You want something you can pour your heart into.
Granted, I'm a little busy, but I mean, you know, you can find time and I could record things. Like
drop some lo-fi beats?
Drop lo-fi beats, yeah. I could record Kevin.
Yeah, him and his funny little throat noises that he makes sometimes.
Yeah.
It's Sounded like a tuberculosis grandma.
That's like Kevin does. Stuart chimes in. Yeah.
It's a symphony of suffocation.
There's at night my rodents all suffocate and they just scream in agony until I wake up, and then I walk over and they're completely silent and they're just chilling. I'm like, you motherfuckers, you made me come all the way over here. I thought you were gonna die.
This is 3 a.m. God damn it!
I walk over, I hear Kevin choking to death. I walk in and he has just hay in his mouth and he's choking down some hay. And I'm like, you fucking fat fuck. He's like eyeballs deep in his food bowl, and and he just keeps going.
I'm just saying.
And then he'll drink water for an hour. And I'm like, oh my god.
He's listen, do good, be good, drink your water.
There you go. And
those are rules to live. And fuck bees.
And fuck bees.
It is hip to fuck bees.
And there's nothing hipper.
Nothing hipper.
Nothing hipper.
Alright. But, anyways. So, this D&D campaign is going to be mostly focused around, like, superheroes and whatnot.
Alright.
But my philosophy... I feel like a lot of people just turn their brain off whenever they hear superhero. Because the media has done a very poor job of representing like what superhero stories can actually be.
Yeah, a lot of it's
just like, oh, dude, did you see that like Thor punched this guy?
Yeah, he
wasn't that sick?
Look at him. He's big and cute.
I really like superhero stories that are more than that. Yeah. I think that's where you really get to the meat and potatoes of superhero stories. Whenever you make them human,
you attach yourself to a hero's backstory,
a
personality, as opposed to just seeing them fight things.
Yeah, exactly.
When you give a shit, then it changes a lot.
I feel like my favorite characters are the ones that I really like to watch fight, but also really like to just like hear talk.
Yeah, I like Wolverine a lot. His story is very endearing. You gotta root for him. Yeah. Also, I love watching Wolverine fight.
Yeah, because it's cool as shit. Pretty wild.
Yeah, it's fun.
Like Deadpool 2.
Yeah, interesting fella.
Batman. It's just like if you break it down, the way that the characters are written is what makes them, and not necessarily, oh, dude, Batman versus Superman. I really like Batman because he made a cool suit, and then he said
that movie was fucking bugs.
Superman said Martha, and then.
Fucking hated that movie, dude.
And then Wonder Woman's here, and she's like, "I'm here, guys."
It just turns into a Justice League movie. They don't fight. It's like
they have a minor Justice
squabble,
League.
And then they're like, "Oh shit, bigger target." Okay.
Oh shit, Doomsday's here.
It's understandable. Oh goddamn! Holy fuck! That guy just tore his ACL and threw Patrick Mahomes into a cameraman. To put it in perspective, so there was like a real crazy collision. Put it in perspective, we're watching the AFC Championship game.
So feel free to spoil us.
Yeah,
you guys from the future.
Yeah, if you guys haven't watched it yet,
solidly dating this podcast to Sunday, January 29th, 2023 at 10 p.m.
Yeah, our coordinates are.
Yeah, this is our IP address.
Yeah, here you go.
Feel free to access anything.
My birth certificate's on my OnlyFans. $20, you can see it.
Yeah.
I'm just looking at the people in the beanies. They got fucked
all
up.
Your friends.
Look at that dude. Oh, he smacked his fucking head off the bench.
He says, "Oh god, my fucking leg fell off."
The poor towel guy just got wrecked by two 200-pound men running full speed, and he was just standing fucking still.
They're rubbing it in his face. They say, "I couldn't move my legs, but you can."
He's like, "Oh, my knee." They're like, "Oh, dude, look how great my knee is." It's like wiggling, like doing the stanky leg, moving their knee around. Like, look at this. Look how great my fucking knees are. Couldn't imagine being you. And his ACL's torn. He's screaming on the ground. Look at this fucking
leg
idiot.
Literally bent backwards.
He's like, look at this guy. Imagine your tendons sucking. This is the big thing. Let's see if Trey will cream or cry. If they hit this, he'll cream. If they miss, it'll cry.
But like I was saying,
the superheroes, yeah.
a lot of what I like, at least, a lot of what I like about superheroes is the human aspects. Another thing, a lot of the movies don't like to focus on, like, the Superman Clark Kent stuff.
Yeah.
But I feel like a lot of Superman's opportunity to be really interesting is to be Clark Kent.
Yeah, it's part of his whole thing is that he's not just like he's like, oh, he's normal. He's trying to adjust to being a normal boy instead of alien man.
Whenever the way you do Superman is you have him fight something that's not only physically threatening but also morally threatening. You know, he has to be able to stand for what he stands for and be able to either turn the other guy around or find a way to beat him.
Or you just leave it morally gray where he doesn't know if he did it right or not. It's Superman, and the whole next issue is like him contemplating what he's done. He's like, should I have done that? I don't...
But then that's why you have his supporting cast, you know?
Yeah.
You have like Lois Lane or Ma Kent, and they're like, listen, Clark, you did the right thing, you could have handled that a little better.
And Mama Clark's like, you fucking idiot.
You goddamn
What
piece
the
of
fuck
shit.
did you do? You killed 30 children.
I thought it was the right thing.
Yeah, I could have swore that's what the handbook said.
It's canon. Superman kills 30 like orphans.
He's like, I thought there was a villain in there.
So I thought it was a bad guy.
I thought I saw Darkseid. It was just a child.
It's just 30 of them.
I'm sorry.
And I ripped them to pieces.
I tore them apart. Each and every one. I locked
Jesus
the doors
Christ.
and I went through ripping each one apart.
I thought that they were pinatas.
It was like a Build-A-Figure. I thought if I took one piece of each of them, and I made one boy.
Superman Frankenstein's a child.
A boy to boy them all.
The boy of all time.
The boy of all boys.
But anyways.
Boy boys?
So, in my writing, I like to focus on... Well, first off, while I do have... most of my characters are completely just, like, stuff I pulled out of my brain.
Yeah.
There are a few I have made intentionally to be, like, homages to characters in the past. You know, like characters I enjoy. And, most of them are, like... the way I have it is most of them are like retired by the modern day in the universe, so I don't have to worry about like making them a main focus.
You don't have to try to write them into everything.
Yeah, exactly. There's a couple of them who are still around, but that's mostly just for me to commentate on what they stand for. So like I have a Batman type character.
Yeah.
And he's been around for like ever. But he's also like really fucked up because of it. To be like to do a commentary like what if someone was Batman for like 30 years and they were basically just like a normal dude with training.
They'll probably take it out of you, man.
It would, yeah. So so his power is that he has enhanced senses. And so he is obviously he's also got just a little spice of Daredevil thrown in there.
Yeah, just a little bit.
For poops and gigs.
But he can see.
Yeah, but he can see.
Like if Daredevil could see. So
if Daredevil could see.
That's like Daredevil without his whole character.
Yeah. So that is literally all that you get from Daredevil. Aside from some of his designs I made for him are influenced a little bit off of his like first appearance design.
The shitty yellow and brown?
No. I meant like in universe first appearance.
I hate that shit.
Where he's just like wearing like thermals basically.
I couldn't even pretend that was okay.
Let me see if I can find a good image for you of Daredevil with his like thermals on.
I think I'm gonna write a sitcom.
That'd be fun.
I think I want it to be like Shaq and a midget, and they just go through life, you know, they're just trying to live life as best friends that are so differently sized. Like, what kind of car do you own? You know, like, how big of a couch do you have?
This is what Daredevil wears in his first appearances in universe.
Yeah, a beanie and a thermal shirt.
Yeah, so I've used that as like a little bit of a template for.
He looks Cholo-esque. If you just bring the beanie down bring it up a little bit to where the bottom of your eye's coming out.
It's not even really a beanie. It's like a tied back type thing.
It's a beanie to me.
All right. Whatever.
You should make your character a cholo.
I don't know about that. I don't know how that would resonate.
I think that'd be really funny. A cholo that sees everything.
He's his name is Moonshadow, and he used to be like the crazy vigilante type, but now he just doesn't care as much anymore. And he feels like he's thrown his life away being a superhero, but at this point it's the only thing he has left.
So he has no other choice.
Yeah, he's just like, listen, it's either this or existential dread, so I'm picking this.
This is all I'll ever be, so...
Yeah, so, like, stuff like that. Or, like I said, so, like, characters I don't have to commentate on or don't really want to.
Yeah.
They're just, like, retired and they're happy.
Simple, so, like, you just don't.
Yeah, exactly. I don't have to commentate on them. I don't have to commentate on everyone. You know, if I don't have something to say, why make myself come up with something?
Yeah, I mean, forcing it's not going to make anything better.
Yeah, exactly. It's like what would I comment on Spider-Man with? You know, I have in my head what Spider-Man should be.
I mean, he's kind of just a dude. He's still aging, so I mean, he's just like he's just 60 and he gave up. He's like, whatever, man.
That's my version. So there's a character I have heavily based off of Spider-Man. He's in concept and design. He is mixed between Spider-Man and Ant-Man.
Arachnoid.
Yeah, I was like, they're both smart. They both they're both insect themed, and so I was like, I want to make a character who's kind of like who would be the icon like that Spider-Man is.
Yeah, someone that could.
So his name is Henry, and he is called the Grasshopper.
Grasshopper, okay.
Yeah, and he is like, so all around his like his dexterity and strength is increased, but mostly his like legs and lower back are like heightened to like a crazy degree. So he can like sprint real fast, jump real high, you know, the works.
I think that we have discussed off-air Grasshopper before.
Yeah, I think I've told you about him.
I think he's been around for a little bit, hasn't he?
Yeah. He was one of the first characters I came up with, because whenever I had the idea to reference these heroes of the past, you know.
Yeah.
Spider-Man is a character I hold very dearly.
Of course, I mean, he's Spider-Man.
Yeah, exactly.
So he's like the OG.
Mm-hmm.
Or at least among the OGs.
So he was one of the first that I went about. So most of these homage characters are mixes. I'll take two characters and put them together, and this will be who they are.
It's always fun to take bits and pieces of what you can from each character and turn it into your own original idea.
I will say Grasshopper is very much based off of Spider-Man, more so than Ant-Man, more so than Hank Pym.
I mean, there's kind of more... As much, I don't mind Ant-Man, but there's more fun about Spider-Man.
His name is also a direct reference to both, because his name is Henry, which Hank is short for Henry.
Yeah.
And then his last name is Parker, which you know, obviously.
Hank is short for Henry?
Yeah, it's weird.
I had no fucking idea.
I'm not entirely sure how that works, but I know it is a thing.
I had no idea. I'm pretty good at those things, too. I did not know that.
Yeah, it's weird. But, so...
What the flip?
What the flip, guys?
Alright, dude. What the flip?
I've been trying to... He's also a character, like, that I like to write about. Just because I want to fledge out what I want him to be like. So, we all know what Spider-Man's like. I want him to be... not exactly like Spider-Man, but invoke the same sort of feeling. You know, like a fun-loving, sort of youthful guy who's always on the, who's like, optimism shines through whatever unfortunate circumstances he's in.
Yeah.
And, so I've been trying to make some, like, rogues for him, some good villains that I can use.
Try to see if American Truck Simulator is on.
That's what I was thinking you were doing.
I don't think it is.
So I have... Alright, so let me see. I'll actually just give you guys a once-over of the characters that I have made. Some of the ones I really like. I already talked about Moonshadow. Moonshadow is one of my favorites. This is just a grumpy old bastard.
Grumpy old fuck.
Mm-hmm. Grumpy old fuck, but, you know, he's still got it. Let's see. What's another one I really like? So, like, the Superman archetype character. His name is, Kent. And, his hero name is Mr. Impossible.
Is his name Kent Clark?
No, his name is Kent Williams.
I like Kent Clark.
Kent Clark. I feel like that's a little bit too on the nose.
It's literally just his name. I couldn't get more on the nose unless you named him Clark Kent.
But he is he is what Superman is, basically. But like if Superman had someone who just barely outshadowed him, and he's also, you know, like Moonshadow, he has been at this from the beginning. Mr. Impossible is the first superhero in my universe.
I remember Mr. Impossible.
Yes.
I kind of forget when we do these kind of things how much we've talked before.
Yeah.
But like you'll bring them up and be, oh wait, shit, I know who that is. I've heard at least an original thought of this character. You know, he may or may not have been developed further since.
No, I like to always go back and refine my ideas or write down anything that's of note, anything new that comes into my head. But so he is I'm not entirely sure what I want his like origin story to be, but I do want to keep some of the like basic stuff, like you know, like maybe he's taken in and he's shown, you know, what it is to be kind and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And I do want him to be an alien, but I don't want him to be the same type of alien that, you know, Clark is, where he's just like, oh, I landed on Earth, and I just so happen to look human.
Here I am. I look just like you guys.
I want it to be sort of. Well, my original concept for him, I'll tell you. I don't know if I'm gonna stick with it, but my original concept is he also has a sister who her name is Morningstar, but her real name is Carla Nova. I really liked that name.
Carla Nova?
Yeah, Carla Nova. So
it's a pretty cool name.
Yeah. So they were both like just basically like an accumulation of half finished stem cells in a pod whenever they landed on Earth.
Ugh.
And they scanned like I don't know if it should be like they scanned the environment and they first came across humans, or whatever sent them knew humans were like the dominant life form. Yeah, like so sent these to blend in.
You're gonna have to be like these.
Yeah.
Because that's what's important.
So they one way or another they end up, you know, taking on elements of human genes. So that's why they look human.
Of course, you gotta adapt.
Yeah. So, I also should comment on their races. Like, even though they're alien, they appear... Impossible is Hispanic.
Great.
And Carla is black.
Of course.
Yeah. I just felt like that would be a fun inclusion.
Yeah. Inclusiveness, you know, you gotta...
Yeah, listen. And again, you know...
You're gonna make every hero white.
Yeah, exactly. Boring. That would feel a little weird.
It's boring.
As a white guy in 2023 writing things, I don't want to make all my characters white. I feel a little gross about that.
Yeah, I mean, because realistically, with the number of heroes that are in the story, the likelihood of them all being Caucasians, not very. Granted, none of it's really, you know, realistic. It's kind of a bad term for, but you know, in terms of diversity, you'd assume
makes it more real.
1 of 20 has to be a minority of some type.
Yeah.
They can't all just be white people.
Plus, you know, from a design standpoint, it's easier. Because then it's like, oh, it's not just another white guy.
Yeah, And there's more opportunity for cultural storylines.
I think it's really fun, the visual of a non-white Superman.
Yeah.
I mean, not to say, I feel like whenever I say that, it sounds like there's something wrong with white Superman. There is not. There is definitely not. Superman, as Superman Clark Kent, white as he is one of my favorite characters of, like, all time.
Yeah.
So I should preface that whenever I say I like the idea of a non-white Superman. It's like, I have him to do that.
Yeah, and
let me make Superman my own.
And thinking of, like, you know, kids, if you, like a black kid, if he's a black Superman, he's like, hey, you know, that's someone that looks like me doing good things.
DC also already has that.
Yeah, true.
And his name is Calvin Ellis.
Calvin Ellis.
Yeah, and he's the president of the United States on Earth 23, I think.
23?
Yeah, but he leads like a multiverse Justice League.
Oh, that's interesting.
Yeah.
That's big leagues.
That's big leagues.
Multiverse, that's big leagues.
I mean, you know, in terms of, like, physicality, he's basically just your normal Superman. But, you know, he's got a different upbringing and different skills.
It's the exact same everything, but he's black.
Not exactly.
It's just the laziest writing of all time.
Oh,
it's like,
no,
let's just make him brown. You're like, okay, that works.
I mean, I think a lot of the core elements are there, but they look at the world, I'm sure, through slightly different lenses.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I just think including, you know, having an alien show up and be a white dude is a little bit weird. But, you know, like I said, it's not like I have a problem with it. So that's a thing. I also like to include characters of different, you know, sexualities and stuff. But I also don't like to make it like a focal point.
No, you don't have to make it like a whole part of this. I mean, it's just like, it's a thing.
Yeah, it is like, oh, if you follow and hang out with this character so much,
yeah,
then maybe they're like kissing a boy or something like that.
Yeah, it's just part of who they are.
Yeah, it's just who they are.
It's like knowing a gay person.
Yeah,
you don't talk to them.
It's literally, yes.
It's not like, hello, I kiss dudes.
Yeah,
it's like,
that's not how people are.
It's just, you know, over time you find it out. And you're like,
or like if a character's a woman and strong, they're not like, hey, look at me, I'm a strong woman. They're like, hey, you know, I'm a person, I'm a human being.
Yeah, and
let's talk about
and you realize over
pizza.
Time, and over time you realize, holy shit, this person's strong. Oh my god.
Yeah, it's like, it's just something you notice about people. It's not something that has come out and said.
It means more when it's something that you figure out as it goes on.
Exactly.
It's more genuine if you're just like, this is how it is. You know?
Nowadays, you know, I notice more and more often people don't. It's not subtle. It's just, oh, guys, don't worry, we're being inclusive.
Because that's almost like a slap in the face.
Yeah,
like, look at this. Look at this.
If you're really being inclusive, you shouldn't have to say it. You know, it should just be.
Because you're just understanding that that's how it is.
Yeah.
Sometimes, like, there are very strong people of all different types, and that can happen.
It doesn't matter your race, age, or gender. You can be anything.
Yeah.
It's just the same thing with my bad guys. You know, I'll make them of all different sorts. You know?
Yeah.
As it doesn't matter.
Anyone is capable of anything.
Exactly. So, like,
based entirely off of their choices as an individual.
Whenever I make my character, I sit down, you know, or sometimes after the fact, I'll be like, hey, you know, maybe this person's black, or maybe this person's white, or maybe this person's Jewish.
You'll play around with it in design, or while writing, you'll be like, hey, what would it look like if I made him Puerto Rican?
Yeah, it's like, sometimes that's fun.
Paco Man.
Paco Man.
That's me.
You just wear a big P on your shirt.
Yeah, and I don't have any powers.
No. Your powers, never mind. Never mind.
What were you going to say?
That's all you know. Jumping fences.
I can jump. I'm Puerto Rican. I'm not Mexican.
You can swim.
Super swimming.
I'll give an Aquaman a run for his money.
Yeah, check this shit out, dude. I swam all the way here. What you got on me?
Guys, I'm not racist. I just went on a tirade about inclusivity, so don't worry about it.
He only did that to...
butter you up.
To clear his own conscience.
You wouldn't be mad at me.
You guys see the abusive relationship that happens in this workplace. I work here for free. He doesn't pay me.
Workplace, quote unquote.
He doesn't pay me. I suspect it's because I'm Puerto Rican.
I suspect. If I were to draw a conclusion in the matter.
Other than the fact that we neither of us make any money,
no.
My second best assumption is that I'm Puerto Rican, and that's why.
But another thing is, whenever I'm writing a character, I visualize them in my head.
Yeah.
You know, and I'll be like, it's something almost I don't even decide. It's like instinctive. It's like, oh, you know, should this person... It's not even like a question even. It's like I think of this character, and as I fill them out, my mind's eye, I see what they should be.
Yeah, and I mean...
And then sometimes, you know, like I said, maybe it's after the fact. I'll be like, oh, I haven't said, you know, if this person's like gay or if they're trans or whatever their race is.
Yeah.
Or anything like that.
Just let me figure out as I go sometimes.
Like, I'll just put this as that.
I mean...
Why not?
Maybe as you write about a character, you start feeling, like, as you're writing him, you're like, maybe this person is gay.
Yeah.
Like, at first, you're like, nah. But then over time, as you're writing them, you're like,
Yeah, it's like, at first I was like... I had, well, first off, so Morningstar, Impossible, and then the number one hero, Peacekeeper.
Mm-hmm.
At first they were all white, and I was like, you know what, that feels weird.
It feels kind of stinky.
That feels weird. I don't like that. So, I was like, if they did, I also should say, I had... as you know, I do love conspiracy theories.
Of course.
So I had Impossible and Morningstar landing on Earth. I had them... That was what the Roswell incident was.
That is fun. I like that.
I had that in their origin. And that's like a diverging point in the timeline.
There's something very fun about that idea. Writing fictional characters into non-fictional events.
Yeah. It's like, so whenever... So they touched down in the mid-40s, as it were, in real life with Roswell. And the government takes them in, and then they just kind of hold on to them. And they're like, well, what the you know, they run tests and stuff. And then as the Soviets become, like, more and more aggressive, they start to, like, think, is there any way that we could use these fucking, like, super beings...
Yeah, there has to be something,
on our side.
Some way we can manipulate them into doing what we want.
And so I haven't figured out exactly, you know, I haven't fledged out all the way how they do it. But eventually, you know, like, they're used... And in this world, they bring down the Soviet Union, like, overnight.
Could you imagine being the Soviet Union? And all of a sudden...
They were not prepared.
You're like, what the fuck? These aren't people.
And obviously, no, it's still whenever if I make it canon, it will be a horrible, tragic event of just thousands of people losing their lives in an instant. You know, but it'll also be a smeared by the American press to be like, oh, the civil war within the USSR has led to their downfall.
Yeah.
Moscow is in flames.
We have done nothing.
Don't suspect us.
We were not involved.
Yeah. And then it'll be, like, I don't know if they'll do the same for, like, China. Or maybe they, like, leverage an agreement because China's like, oh, God, I don't want us to have the same fate.
Don't do that to us, please.
Yes. It's literally just, like, having an atomic bomb at your disposal. But an intelligent one.
Yeah, an intelligent, living atomic bomb.
Yeah. So, like I said, I don't know even if I want to include that as canon.
Yeah.
But one way or another, I think after they get used, they'll get, like, put on ice or something. But then, like, how do they even contain these guys? If they do get to be used as... like, basically walking bombs.
Yeah, what are you gonna do? Like,
how do you contain these guys?
They seem hard to control.
Maybe it's just like, I don't know. I'm trying to think.
I fucked it.
think I might want it to be like maybe they come up with like some material or something that they can use, or also the power source for the ship that they came to Earth on is like a crystalline substance, and it is eventually what gives the people of this world powers.
They'll get powers from the fuel.
Yeah, because
Is it
it's
diesel?
like no, it's like a unknown material. I always really like that in sci-fi.
It's diesel.
Fucking diesel, square-headed,
fast twitch muscle fiber.
But yeah,
Samoan babies run fast.
I like the trope of a material that is foreign to science. Anything that is like, look how little humans actually know about the world. I always like shit like that.
Bunch of fools.
Yes. It's like, we put ourselves on this high pedestal like we are the greatest things ever, and it just feels wrong to me. Because it's like, how are we the greatest things ever if we've done so much awful shit?
Yeah, we're pretty shitty, honestly. Humans and being assholes pretty much synonymous with each other.
Yeah.
We're even assholes to other humans.
Yeah,
that's insane.
But like I was saying, I don't know. Maybe they use that to like subdue them. I'm not sure.
They use their own fuel.
They like reverse engineer technology from the ship. I don't know. But then how do they break out if they have like absolute control over them?
They don't.
They don't break out?
Nope, they're fucked.
Oh.
There's part of it now. Sorry. They're under complete control.
Oh, I remember how I originally did it. There was a saboteur.
Saboteur?
Yeah, there was
a charlatan?
There was a dude on the inside who was like, you know what? Maybe we shouldn't like contain these people.
Like, no.
Someone was like a decent human being, and so they broke him out, and then they couldn't put him back.
But it's okay. They're not people.
They're aliens. They're not people.
They came from
I don't know. I mean, like,
else.
we feed them and we talk to them and we train them. I used to read them bedtime stories.
They don't look like us. We can do whatever we want with them. That's what I think.
Oh yeah, maybe.
Sometimes.
Oh, sometimes.
You know, it'd be like
in real life.
In real life, that's what I do. That's the kind of person I am.
So that's just the type of guy I am in real life.
I'm a stand-up kind of guy. I'm stand up to them liberals, am I right?
Someone's got to.
Someone's got to do it.
But anyways, so I also have another creation I'm pretty proud of, is a team called the Color Guard.
Yeah, the Color Guard.
The Color Guard. So they are, I think the initial idea was, I thought about like how fun the Power Rangers are with all their flashy outfits and shit.
The Power Rangers are pretty fun.
Just like from a visual standpoint alone. So I was like, I want to make a team of characters that are bright and colorful like that, and the name the Color Guard just like came around.
I like the Color Guard.
Yeah, I think the Color Guard is like a thing in like big bands.
Big bands?
Yeah, like school bands and stuff like that.
Yeah, the Color Guard. Yeah.
So I was like, you know what? We'll just use that. That sounds fun. So the Color Guard is a group of heroes from a bunch of different backgrounds and stuff, but they're all friends, and they all came up around the same time, around the same area. So that's why they're a team. Is they're just like, well, we're all heroes. We all work together already. So let's just call ourselves the Color Guard. And they all have color-themed names.
That's nice.
Yeah, so like their leader is a woman named Evergreen, and she can control plant life and stuff. And then there's another one called Infrared, who has like spectral vision, like he can see all different wavelengths of light.
That's fun.
And he has like eye lasers too.
Eye lasers.
Yeah. And then Indigo Inferno, he's a pyrokinetic and also a firefighter.
A pyrokinetic firefighter.
Yeah.
I like it. I like that idea.
And then there's Granite, who is... so I should also say Inferno and Granite are like the Johnny Storm and Ben Grimm of the team. Like they fuck with each other, but at the end of the day, they're really tight.
Those relationships are always fun.
Yeah, I always love that. You know, you got a couple people, just a couple bros. They fuck with each other sometimes, but they're bros. They got each other's back, and it's always fun to write characters like that.
Yeah.
But the former leader of the Color Guard was a fella. He was Infrared's brother, and he went by the hero name Ultraviolet, and his power was like energy absorption. And there was a solar flare that like threw his powers into overdrive, and he kind of went ballistic. And so after that, he was like, you know what? You guys should just like lock me away deep underground where I can't absorb as much radiation and stuff, so this doesn't happen again.
How nice of him.
And so he is like in a supermax facility, but he's the only person there of his own free will.
Yeah, it's probably hard to explain. Like, what are you doing here? He's like, I want to.
Oh, you know, I went on like I caused millions of property damage.
Yeah, I'm gonna destroy shit if I wasn't. So, yeah.
I also have it so that it's like it was like a slow progression. So like even whenever he was a little kid, like people would make fun of him because he had like a glow about him on account of the radiation,
kind of
the energy. And so he is Infrared's older brother.
Mm-hmm.
I based the two loosely, very, very loosely, like, off of Havoc and Cyclops.
Okay. I can kind of see where that would be connected a little bit.
Yeah. But, so they are also the children of heroes. They're second generation supers. And their parents are, one of them is a tribute to Hawkgirl, and the other one is a tribute to Wolverine. The dad, his name is Vigor, and I can't remember if I also have him as being an active hero or not, but he has like crazy healing, and that's his thing.
He heals real good.
Yeah, and then their mom, her name is Cardinal, and you know, she has wings. That's always fun.
Does she give you wings?
I'm sure.
She...
It's like a disease. It's like, I caught wings.
You caught wings? Is that what Red Bull does? This whole time it's been an STD and we didn't know. Like, it'll give you wings. I'm sorry, man. It's a warning.
Yeah, it's like a label. May actually give you wings.
You might get wings.
You might get wings.
Like, fuck! No! No! They're like Magic Johnson. He had wings.
But, yeah, so...
That's a new PC way of saying that you have an STD.
I got wings. I'm sorry, you might want to get yourself tested.
He's got wings, yeah.
Did you hear?
It sounds like he's saying he's
Jeffrey
dead.
has wings.
He gained his wings.
Yeah, he gained his wings.
Yeah, pretty much, he's going to have wings soon. To see what he did.
He's on his way.
He's on his way to the wings, dude. On his way to Wing Street. Like Pizza Hut. He's on his way to Wing Street.
But, so, I should also take a moment here to talk about Vigor and Cardinal. Vigor is from, he's from, like, the Avengers type team.
Alright.
Where it's all the characters I have based off of, like, the Marvel guys. And then Cardinal's from the Justice League type team, where it's, like, a bunch of DC guys. Oh, yes! There's another commentary character I was forgetting about. He's based off of Shazam.
Okay.
So you know, Shazam's whole gimmick is he's a little kid who says the magic word and he becomes like a full-grown man.
Or he mixes with the grown man.
Yeah.
Which one are you going with?
It's the one where he says the magic word.
Okay, you're not going the grown man route?
Yeah. So this is like, I was like, but what if like Billy Batson just like grew up with this power, and he wasn't necessarily given it because he was like pure of heart. So this is he just, you know, there's no, as far as I have included, there is no magic in this world.
There's a reason for everyone having those powers.
Yes, it's just
you
like
can explain how they got it.
Yeah, it's like through exposure to the, like I said, the crystalline fuel source. So it was like aerosolized, like they were whenever impossible through some means, like after he escapes the military or something like that, he winds up with it, but he doesn't like remember what it is. So he gives it to a lab for analysis, and they accidentally blow it up because they don't.
Great.
They're not sure what it is.
Helpful.
So they blow it up on accident, and the gas spreads all throughout. Like so the point of origin is Washington D.C., and then it just carries across the United States.
Okay. It spreads.
Yeah, like the United States and surrounding areas. And then, you know, obviously there are people at that time, whenever the gas hit, in the United States that weren't originally from there, you know, like people from business and stuff.
Yeah.
So that's how power spread all around the world.
They all brought it back.
And that's why most of the heroes are from the United States.
Okay.
It's because that's where it happened. Because that's another thing I noticed in comics. It's like most of the heroes are American, and it's like that would also be kind of weird. Because if you'd think that people would have the potential to have powers, it would be a global thing.
Yeah, it would not just be America is strong now.
And then you got a handful of others here and there. But so that was the big reason why I decided that was how people got powers. Why it's all here.
You didn't go the America good everywhere else bad route either?
No. Because I don't buy into that either.
You didn't go the Hulk Hogan route where it's like,
You know, I think that patriotism is cool to an extent, but you also have to be able to acknowledge America is definitely not the coolest place on earth.
Yeah, we're not perfect.
Yeah, exactly.
I think we're pretty cool.
Yeah, America is cool, but America has also done a lot of shitty things in the past. Yeah. And you have to be able to acknowledge that, to say America is cool.
It's like we're the only innocent, like, we're innocent, we're just America. Like, no. We're a superpower. Fearmongers a little bit, but, you know, it's just kind of what we do.
Yeah. So, where was I? How did I get onto that?
Where am I?
What's going on? I was talking about the powers and whatnot.
Motherfucker.
But yeah, so Grasshopper actually was working at the place where they detonated the crystal on accident. And so that's like he was like ground zero for it.
I'm sure that's a good place to be.
But one of the other founders, so one of the founders is Peacekeeper's dad, the number one hero. And then one of the other founders is a character named Robert Starr. And he is...
It's your boy, Bob.
Yeah, you know the rest.
I can't do that.
But he is a mixture of the Hulk and Iron Man, and I thought that would be the most fun mixture to make.
That is definitely a fun mixture.
Because the Hulk's whole thing is he's always worried about when he's going to turn into the Hulk. And Iron Man is, you know, it's like the opposite. He is vulnerable, so he makes his armor. The Hulk is vulnerable, or Bruce Banner is vulnerable, so like the armor, he becomes the armor.
Yeah, his body makes the armor for him.
So Robert's power it's called Last Stand, and it is a power where if he is put in a life-threatening situation, he will like sort of mutate into a drastically different form. And I do want it to be horrific. I have made a handful of designs for it. But he will mutate into a form that will let him survive whatever he's going through. So he doesn't know that he has a power whenever everyone else gets their powers. You know?
Yeah.
Just by nature of it. He is not, he's a well-off scientist. So he doesn't put himself in a lot of life-threatening situations.
Yeah, he has no reason to.
Yeah, exactly. And then, because he doesn't think he has powers, he develops, like a suit of power armor. And the design is nowhere near as sleek and futuristic as Iron Man. Because I have a soft spot for, like, 50s sci-fi. So I have it. It looks like an old, almost like a spaceman.
All right, okay, I can kind of see that in my head.
Let me see if I can show you a picture. But it was a lot of fun to design him, and it's one of the designs I am most proud of. Because it's like I said, it's like an old timey spaceman.
I love old timey spaceman.
Yeah, that's a
Okay,
more recent drawing, but I have a full body drawing of him somewhere. Is it in my camera roll?
Camera roll.
Camera roll.
My camera roll.
Do a camera roll.
You're just like your father.
I don't think it is, but it is. Like I said, it's a design I'm very fond of. But he eventually, his power manifests through like a villain attack.
Mm-hmm.
Like there's a villain I have. His name is Nightmare, and he has the ability to produce illusions that your body cannot tell are fake. Like, it's directly tapping into your mind, and it makes your brain think this is real.
That's pretty horrific.
Yes, and it is. He can only target like a handful of people with it. Like, the more people he spreads it to, the less impactful it is.
Yeah.
But so he just focuses it entirely on Rob, and his body, because he thinks he's in a life-threatening situation, the power activates, and he becomes like a grotesque monster, and he just like lays waste to his surroundings until eventually, he is contained, and then he reverts, and then he's like, you know what, I think I'm done.
Yeah, I think I'm good on this.
Yeah, so he becomes like a recluse. And that's what leads to the sort of disbanding of the Avengers type team. Is because he was like their leader basically. Because there is a Captain America type, but only insofar as he's like a patriot. Because he's an asshole.
Okay. It's just the dickbag patriot.
Yeah, I thought that would be a fun character to do.
Yeah.
So his name is Alpha Dog, and he is like a cross between Captain America and the Punisher.
That's a fun mix.
He doesn't kill people, because here's, unlike in comics, where the Punisher kills a guy, and seemingly no one cares.
Yeah, everyone's like, whatever.
Yeah, it's
Guy's
like,
dead.
no, listen, if the Punisher killed a guy, even if he was a dick, like Daredevil or like Spider-Man would be like, hey, you gotta like go to jail for that.
Yeah, you can't do that, man.
So he's just like a sadistic asshole.
All
Like
right.
he's very brutal, but he also is very trained. And he's also like Captain America in that he's not super duper strong, but it's a combination of his strength and his training that makes him dangerous.
Okay.
So he also has a much stronger healing factor than Captain America. Like, it doesn't let him age.
A little bit farther from human than Captain America.
Yeah. A little bit more extreme.
Yeah, a little more extreme. I like that idea.
Is again, not to say I don't like Captain America because he stands for America. It's like he stands for an idealized America, I think.
Yeah.
Captain America stands for an idealized America. Whereas Alpha Dog stands for, like, the sins of America's past. Or he's not... I don't know if he's a racist, but I definitely don't want him to be a great guy. I don't want him to be someone that you root for. Have you just made, like, infinite water on accident?
Yeah, entirely on accident. I think water goes through stairs.
Oh, okay.
Which really blows, so that was kind of my whole idea. Oh my god.
What? What? How did you even get water? Oh, it went through the ground?
I guess water only doesn't travel through whole blocks.
That's weird.
So,
anyways.
What the fuck?
I also think Alpha Dog uses... Oh my god! I'm an idiot.
Yeah.
I was thinking for so long what I want Alpha Dog's, like, trademark thing to be. Like, Captain America has his shield. I was like, what should he have? He'll have a baseball bat.
There you go.
I was like, at first I was like, he should have a sword, but I was like, no, that kills people. You can't swing a sword at someone and not have it kill them. You know, even if you are, you know, even, because if he's super strong, even if the blade is dull,
yeah, it's
you can kill someone with that.
America's pastime, dude.
America's pastime.
America's baseball bat. Dude.
It all comes together. Oh my god. Yeah, he can have just like a fucking Louisville Slugger.
There you go.
He takes to the streets with. Think about that.
It's very American.
Like Captain America in riot gear with a baseball bat. Coming at you in the middle of the fucking night.
That sounds hard to deal with.
Yes! So, I should also say, in Moon Shadow's past, he did kill one villain on accident.
Oopsies.
Yeah, so, like, the villain, he was, like, a really piece of shit guy. The villain, he had mind control powers, and he took over, like, Chicago, and he sent, basically, all of the surrounding area into chaos. Because, like,
that's a dick move.
He took over that place, and so everyone else rushed to help, and then a bunch of villains just, like, swarmed in. Well, I say villains, quote-unquote. You know, they're just people with powers who sought to abuse them.
Okay.
They just flood into the area, and they just basically take over, and it's like a state of emergency and shit. So, and then the culmination of it, Moonshadow's team, the Justice League type guys, they are sent in. But what they don't know is the villain has taken control of a violent anti-hero. So I should say there is a character who considers himself a hero, but he's not, like, recognized as one. He kills people. His name is Atlas, and he's also like a sort of Superman type character. He can fly, he's super strong and shit, but he kills people because he's got like a very warped, he had like a really troubled past, so he has a very warped sense of justice. And this villain takes control of this guy. He takes control of Atlas. And so whenever the heroes come there, Atlas is there to stop them. And so they have to fight Atlas. But after they beat Atlas, they go to confront the villain. And he basically sends a couple cities blocks worth of Chicago population to flood the streets, you know, just like walking around, basically.
Yeah.
And the heroes are all lost in the shuffle, and the villain goes to take control of Mr. Impossible, but because of Moonshadow's powers, he's able to like suss out that what he's doing.
Sus?
He's able to figure it out. He's able to figure out what the villain is planning, so he goes and he slams the guy on the pavement, but he did it in such a way that it broke the guy's neck.
Poor fucker.
And so it renders all the citizens comatose. Because, you know, he was just in their brains. and then he died.
Yeah. That's
and
unfortunate.
There's also like a huge, like, it becomes like a big legal thing, and his team also disbands because of it.
It kind of be hard to keep going as heroes if people start trying to, push that onto you.
And Impossible is conflicted too, because he recognizes the danger it would have been if he had taken control of Impossible. But he also is like, you did kill the guy.
Yeah, you killed him.
And, it's not art. That's not what we do. And so, Impossible also retires for a minute because he is conflicted about this. And he's just like, you know what? I've been a hero for a really long time. I've had a good run. I want to just try being a normal person. And so, Impossible goes into retirement. Moonshadow goes into like a whole legal battle where his identity is exposed.
That's a problem.
Yes. And the rest of the team just kind of goes their separate ways. Until eventually there is an event. A villain shows up who is like killing young and up-and-coming heroes. And so...
It's a dick move, dude.
Yeah, and so Impossible's like, listen, you gotta fucking... If you're gonna throw hands with someone, throw hands with me. And he comes out of retirement. And then this dude beats Impossible's ass until Morningstar shows up. Until Carla shows up. Because she was like living in fear of her power for a really long time. So, the way I have it written originally, I think I'm gonna change it, but I don't know how. So Kent goes, and whenever he escapes from the government, he goes and he winds up in like a farmhouse, basically. And then from there it's like Clark Kent stuff.
Yeah.
Where he is raised by, or I guess he's not really raised, because he is like a late teens. He'd be like physically and mentally about like 15 whenever he lands. So he's taught, good and bad and whatnot. But Carla lands in the middle of, or Carla ends up like in the middle of like Seattle. Or on the outskirts. And she's taken in by like a socialite who is like, she's had a life of misdeeds, and so she just wants to, whenever she sees this like presumably homeless like child on the side of the road, she's like, you know what, I'm gonna do a good thing.
Yeah, help this thing out.
Yeah. So she takes Carla in, names her Carla, and that's why they also have like different last names. Kent was taken in by a family called the Williams, and Carla was taken in by this socialite with the last name of Nova.
Okay, so...
And so she is raised by the socialite who eventually, like, she used to like do drugs and party really hard and stuff. So eventually she gets like really sick, and Carla is there with her. And then after she passes away, Carla gets her estate and stuff. But whenever she comes home after the funeral, one of the socialites, like, exes is, like, digging through her stuff, and Carla fucking loses it.
Yeah, I mean, it kind of makes sense.
It's like, dude, I don't know who you are, but you're going through, like, who is basically my mom's stuff.
Yeah, he's probably...
So she doesn't know that she has powers at this point. But, so she, like, basically beats this dude within an inch of his life. And she's like, I can do that?
Yeah, like, holy shit.
And so she lives for years in fear of herself on account of, this happening. And so she just, basically she sits and she tries to live as normal a life as she can using her, like, adoptive mom's money. And so she only comes to Kent's rescue because she, like, she knows, like, deep down inside, like, I know this guy.
I feel some sort of connection to this
I
fella.
feel a connection here. She doesn't entirely know that they're siblings, but she's like, I've been having, like, weird dreams for like ever about a person who kind of looks like this guy. So I'm gonna figure this out. And so she goes and she saves him. But the villain, she doesn't like kick the shit out of the villain or anything. It's just the villain goes because it's like, oh shit, it's a little bit too much attention right now.
Yeah, this is a bad time. Because
he's just like, he wants to lay low, basically. He doesn't want to become super known.
That's probably not the best move.
Yeah.
Just become notoriously bad.
As powerful a villain, as powerful as you can be as a villain, there's like only so much running you can do, basically. You know, he is like a hero killer, you know, so he only really wants to kill heroes or people with powers. So he would rather not kill civilians or anything like that. So that's why he gets the fuck out of Dodge. Because he knows, you know, if the military rolls up, I'm going to have to kill some people. Yeah, I don't want to do that. But yeah, so that's like, that gives you a good idea about like Carla's deal and Kent's deal.
Yeah, where they work into this whole thing.
Yeah. And they're so after Carla like re-enters the world basically, and she becomes a hero. She becomes a bit of a party animal. You know, not like anything too crazy, but like she after she becomes a hero, she like really takes to the hero lifestyle. Like all the adulation and stuff like that, she really digs it. Kent is a lot more modest. Kent, he likes to keep to himself a lot. Not that he isn't, you know, like if he stopped by the press or something, you know, he's a little embarrassed, but he knows what to say.
Yeah, he's not.
And Carla's like, you know, let's just fucking go, bro.
Yeah.
And I think that's another fun thing. You know, whenever, obviously, I have experience with siblings.
Yeah.
So I like to write for siblings. I like to write for like familial relations, just because, you know, I have a big family, and so I know what it's like, and so I like that bleeds over into my writing.
Yeah, it's stuff that you can write on because you understand.
Yeah, I have experience. I understand it well, and I also think it's pretty interesting. You know, just talking about family, because it's something that's very important to me. So like that's why there's so, and also, you know, if powers are genetic to an extent in this universe, so it makes sense to me that if people are going to have powers, then their relatives are going to have powers.
Yeah.
You know,
that makes
so
sense to me.
a lot of characters are second gen supers. And whenever like the campaign will start, the characters are either going to be second gen or maybe even third gen supers, like early third gen. And I should also say that while it's not like in My Hero Academia where basically everyone has powers, it's at a point where it's not necessarily a minority that has powers. It's not like a small percentage of people. Like, a lot of people have powers still, but it's nowhere near all the people.
Okay, yeah.
So it's probably, I want to say like 15 to 25% of the population has powers. So, you know,
a decent little chunk.
Yeah. It's something that is very clear and present, but it's not something that is all consuming. But I like to fledge out the world. So there are like squads and stuff that are trained to take down like super villains. You know, like, oh, if this person has this power, then use this piece of equipment, and so and so.
Yeah.
And I think that that's something I really enjoy doing, is thinking of counters.
It's like Hulkbuster.
Yeah, a little bit. You know.
Like, in case you ever run into this issue, this is how you fix it.
So there's like all sorts of crazy like equipment that these guys, these like anti-super squads have. And they're also deployed by, it's like a joint venture between like law enforcement and the company that employs the heroes, because they provide the tech and the training, but they use like law enforcement dudes, you know, and obviously it's like you can't just have like newbies here. It's like people who are some of the best of the best, and then they take them and they train them to do the anti-super stuff. And even then, it's a crapshoot, you know?
Yeah.
It's like, even if, because it's still equipment, it's not infallible. I think there has to be a space between the bookshelves and the enchantment table.
It's frustrating because my build idea doesn't really work with that very well. But, you know, it'll be fine.
Roll with it.
There we go.
Oh, there's also a squad of heroes that are like, they're all like, they were heroes previously, but through some means of their hero work, they were grievously injured. So like some of them are missing limbs, some of them like they had like a broken spine or something like that, and like neurological damage. And so they're all connected. They're a team called the Watchdogs, and they train. They're like teachers basically, and they all have like really high quality, experimental, cutting edge prosthetics. So like, there's a dude who has like, he used to have flame powers, but he lost the use of his arms fighting a villain. So now he has like Jack's arms.
Oh, cool.
And they have like all different sorts of like utility and shit. Rocket punch, like flamethrowers and shit. Just like or like shock fists. So he like pulled a 180. He went from being like a distance fighter to like up close in your face fighter. And so he's like he trains the students on like physical combat and stuff like that, hand-to-hand stuff. And then you got, hold on, let me like pull up the list of the full squad of the Watchdogs.
The Watchdog Squad.
The Watchdogs are like one of my favorite creations. Let me see.
Very near and dear to the heart.
Yeah. Where's the teams? Did I get rid of that? Did I get rid of that document? No. I was just in a different part of the folder. Okay, Watchdogs. So there's Quick Draw, who had he had telepathy, but I think he was like concussed, or he otherwise received a brain injury that like fucked him up real bad, and so they basically put like a chip in his head that made up for the function that he lost, and it also as a side effect gave him like slowed perception of time. So he basically moves like it's like super hot.
Well, he does the super hot movement.
Yeah. He doesn't move super fast necessarily, like he's not a speedster, but he has heightened perception.
Alright, so he just has a good...
Yeah, and his name is Quick Draw. And he uses a pistol with rubber bullets.
Well, that's nice. Effective, but non-lethal.
Yeah, exactly. And he is a cowboy aesthetic. Because I love a cowboy.
Quick Draw sounds pretty cowboy to me.
And then I already talked about Braun, the dude with the metal arms. You have Stampede. He was, he's a speedster. and he was saving some people from a fire when the building came down on him.
Spooky.
And it broke his back, and obviously it burned him real bad. But due to the speed, he has a healing factor too. But it wasn't good enough to restore his ability to walk. Unfortunately, that's like nerve damage and whatnot.
It's mad unfortunate.
So he is given an implant that basically replaces the broken nerve connection, but it also puts a cap on his speed, because there's a certain point where the information moves too fast from his body that the computer cannot handle it properly.
I guess that would make sense, yeah.
So where he used to be like insanely fast, now he's only like pretty fast.
He's still pretty fast.
Yeah, he can still run. I think it's like Mach 1 or Mach 2.
It's still not slow.
Yeah, still not slow. He's still a speedster. He's just not nearly as fast as he used to be. And then you got Grease Monkey, who is he's their mechanic.
Yeah.
He's the dude who makes the prosthetics. And he was like a child prodigy who was like basically he was taken in by the scientific organization folks at like a young age because of his potential. And then he was like, well, I mean, I've invented all of this crazy shit, like what do I fucking do now?
Yeah.
And then like he started realizing, heroes get injured a lot. So his point, he was like, I want to be able to let them keep doing what they're doing. They're making the world a better place.
Yeah.
These are good people. They don't deserve to be miserable. So that's what he did. He made all of their different like prosthetics and stuff.
That's nice.
He has I wouldn't say he has like a mech suit really that he fights in, but it's like limb enhancers and stuff like that. He doesn't really do combat so much.
Yes, things more just helping.
Yeah, he's like a support
helping
guy.
them do the combat they need to do to make the world good.
Yeah, he's just
his job's to make it easier.
His job, is to keep track of these guys and make sure that all their stuff is working great. He's their technician.
Very important.
Yeah, and then the final member is Steadfast, who he had like a neurological disease. Like an ALS type deal.
Alright, yeah, that's...
And, so, in order to counteract this, Grease Monkey basically made, these nanites that would go in and fight the degeneration by replacing the neurons and such. But as a side effect, it, he can't feel... And also the neurons, the nanomachines are like very, very strong. So he's like borderline invulnerable now.
It's gotta be crazy for your psyche.
Yeah.
You're invulnerable.
It's like he can still get hurt. It's just it's hard to do.
It's not the same.
Yeah, it's not the same, and he can't feel. So it's a blessing and a curse. That's always fun. I always that's another thing I like to do, is I feel like it's more realistic to be like, oh yeah, they have powers, but, at a cost.
Yeah, it doesn't necessarily mean it's all great.
Yeah,
just there's still things to deal with.
It's really easy to sit back and say, if I had superpowers, my life would be a fucking breeze, but it's like, Superman has to worry every time he opens the door that he doesn't crush the knob under his hand. Or, every time he's like waving at someone, he doesn't blow them off their feet with a gust of wind.
He's like, oh shit, oops.
Yeah, and so it's if you think about it, that's what powers would be. It would be, you know, you have to exercise restraint. It wouldn't all just be sunshine and rainbows.
It's just a crazy risk every time you do anything.
Yeah. It's just like the only way that you can really handle power like that is discipline. And then, you know, no matter how much discipline you got, that's not going to give you feeling back if you're invulnerable.
Yeah, it's got to be rough.
But yeah, so that's those are the Watchdogs, and I like them a lot.
Those are an earlier creation of yours, right?
Yeah. I had the idea of a group of heroes who were is handicapped the right term?
Handicapped?
Yeah, like handicapped in some way. Like they're all like they were damaged in a way that otherwise would have made it impossible for them to do what they do.
I guess that would be a good term for it.
Is there a better one? I'm trying to think.
I'm not sure.
But I liked the idea of, like, this guy making technology for these people to help them out because they're good people and they deserve it.
Yeah, I mean, they could definitely use help.
Yeah.
Because of how rough their job is. They don't.
And I think another thing is, you know, if you think about super characters, they're always getting hurt, fighting villains and stuff.
Yeah. And
a lot of it is just like, oh, you know, he gets better, he's good. But it's like, sometimes that's not how it works.
Yeah, sometimes you're just hurt.
In the real world, you know, sometimes you get injured and it'll impact you forever. And so that's what I sought out to do with all of these guys. They are fundamentally different people than before their injury.
It's easier to connect to those characters when they have some sort of border that makes them not completely perfect.
Yeah.
Like there's something going on that makes them, you know, in a way it's a handicap, like you were saying. Like, it's something, because Superman's like, he's Superman.
Yeah.
There really is no handicap to Superman. He has trouble interacting with humans sometimes because he's not a human, and that's kind of just like, that's his problem. There you go. That's just, I don't know, it's the way that my brain picks it up.
Yeah. It's like, again, it all goes back, you know, if you think about things that are fundamental to the human experience, you know, you think about, you know, people, no matter who you are, you have people you talk to, you know, you have relationships of different types, you know, you got friends, you got family, significant others, you know, and then, you know, you got other aspects of your life, you know, hobbies and stuff like that. I always like to fledge out and incorporate as much detail as into these characters as I can, you know. I'll be like, you know, in his free time, you know, he's like a firefighter. That's what Indigo Inferno does. He's also, I'm pretty sure I made him like a weeb. Like he has names for all of his attacks and stuff.
That's
fun. He really lives up the whole part of being a superhero and being a pyrokinetic. And I think that's just, if you, I feel like whenever I'm saying this, it almost comes off as egotistical, like my way is the right way. But that's just how I interpret things, you know.
Yeah,
I am not, you know, I'm sure these are just things I've noticed. I am by no means an expert on writing. I just try to think, you know, I try to think full circle about a character. Whenever I make a character, unless they exist to do just like one thing and that's it, I always try to think about, you know, who's their family, who are they friends with, what are they like as a person, like outside of their super heroics, what are they about?
It makes it deep enough for a connection.
Yeah.
Which is important for enjoying a character.
Like, Eve Evergreen. Her real name is Eve Gardner. Whenever she is not being a superhero, she has like a farmer's market that she tends, where she sells the plants that she grows to like or she'll give them to the homeless and stuff like that. I think that is a fun and interesting way to do that.
It's a fun arc. It's something to...
Yeah.
Like, oh, that's cool. Like, that's nice. It gives you something to think about in the character besides just the, the power.
Mm-hmm. Also, a lot of these heroes... So, because there is an organization that employs them, they do get paid, but some of them can be like, no, I don't want to get paid, or take the money that you would pay me and donate it somewhere else.
Yeah, and do something good with it.
Yeah. So, they have alternative revenue streams, and that is another thing where you can be like, alright, this is what they do.
Yeah, that's the kind of
this is the kind of person, yes. It's just, whenever you sit down and you give someone a career, most of the time that will say something about the person. Like if a person is like a detective or something in their off time, they like helping people, like solving problems. They're, even whenever they're not being a hero, they're still trying to be a hero. Or I guess that's what it boils down to, really. Even whenever they're not being a hero, they're trying to help people in other ways. That's what I always like to do with heroes.
Yeah, it makes sense to the character, like the kind of character that they are. If they were just a hero when it's time to be a hero, then it's completely different. If they're a hero even at times where it's smaller or they're not. Yeah, because like
this is the difference between being a hero and being a good person.
Yeah, you can be a hero and still kind of suck.
I feel like it's a lot easier to write a hero as being a good person if you give them something charitable or otherwise good-natured to do as a career.
Yeah, something that they do.
Yeah. So, I think it was like early on, whenever I was writing Eve, it was like, this is what she does. She runs a farmer's market. And it went on to be like almost like a fundamental part of her character. Just her doing charity work and stuff like that. But there's also... I didn't even talk about bad guys. So, whenever I talk about villains, I always try to make them... I feel it's almost more important to make your villains real people than it is to make your heroes real people. Because at the very least, whenever you have a hero and they're not a real person, you can still root for them because what they're trying to do is good.
Yeah.
But a villain, it's so easy to have a one-note, bland as fuck villain.
It's just evil, I want to take over the world.
Yeah, it's so generic and boring. So I like to give my villains actual motive. Like, try to give them original motivations. A lot of times it'll be things that they believe that motivate them, and not necessarily things that they... like, material things that they would want. So, like... some of them it's like that, but their means of executing, like, their acquisition of power is unique.
Yeah.
So let me see. Let me see if I can find a shining example. And of course, I can't resist the fact that sometimes you just like to write a character that's just fucking crazy.
Yeah, crazy is always fun.
Crazy is always fun. So one of the characters I have here, her name is... her name is Bloodbath. And she is like, she has the ability to make, like, blood constructs.
Blood constructs?
Yeah.
That seems kind of gross.
Make, like, knives and stuff out of blood.
That is gross.
And
blood knife.
She has... She could do it from her own or from others. So, like, she collects other people's blood, too. So she thinks of people almost as, like, her playthings.
Ugh.
Yeah.
Uncomfortable.
And so, like, she'll take people, and all she has to do is make contact with their blood, and she can control that. So, she will, like, make people, like, act out things for her enjoyment.
Yeah, I hate that a lot. Yeah, that makes me uncomfortable.
Yeah, she's crazy. I also gave her, like, a really cool Plague Doctor design.
That's always fun. I like the Plague Doctor design.
We do love a Plague Doctor. And of course you got, mob boss, or like, gang leader, someone who is, you got, your cool villains, it's just like, if you weren't like killing people and stuff, I would be rooting for you.
Yeah, that's kind of where you'd have to draw the line, like, hey, you're killing people.
So, like, there's a dude I have, his name is Dante Guerrero, and his power is, he's a pyrokinetic. His name is Scorch. And he is like, he's like,
Dante Guerrero, like Latino Heat.
What?
Like Latino Heat, dude.
Yeah.
Dante Guerrero.
Yeah, that's actually where I got
Dante, like Inferno, like fire,
yeah,
dude.
like Dante's Inferno,
like
and
Inferno,
also
like Inferno Fire, but like
Eddie Guerrero, Latino
there you
Heat.
go.
That's one thing I always love. One of my favorite things about naming characters is sneaking in shit like that.
Yeah, sneak in little parts of the name that you'll understand if you think about it.
Yeah,
always fun.
But yeah, whenever I was naming the character, I was like, well, I want to call him Dante because, fire.
Yeah.
And I was like, but what's the last name? I wanted him to be Hispanic. And so I was like, you know what? We'll go Guerrero.
I like it. I like the Guerrero inclusion there.
But he's from, like, he was, like, part of a gang whenever he was a kid. And he grew up in, like, LA. And like, whenever he like, very quickly realized, I can just, like, move to the top of this gang if I wanted to. And so that's what he did. He just became, like, the leader of this gang until one day, like, in, like, a conflict with his rival gang, he lost control of his powers, and he, like, wiped out, like, a city block.
Yeah, that's an issue. That's a little bigger than what he probably was anticipating doing.
And so he's also part of. He doesn't really regret it. Like, it's not something that he's, like, super sore about. But he it's like it's more I say I include that more so as a show of what he can do than, like, something that he's necessarily regretting. I'll see if I can find, because I wrote an origin for him. I know. I'm trying to find where it is. But, like, he got tied in with, like, gang stuff, but he eventually ends up working with a group of like, radicals, anti-super radical, or I guess pro-super radicals. They're all about free use of powers. So in this world, you can only really use your powers if you go through the paperwork to do so.
There's paperwork to do it?
Well, I mean, you can't just have people using their powers all the time everywhere.
Yeah, I guess, yeah.
So there's, like, you have to be a licensed power user to use your powers. So, like, if you want to be a hero, there's 2 different licenses you can do. Well, I guess 3. No, there's 2. You can just have both at the same time. One of them is, like, you're cleared to rescue people, and then the other one is you're cleared to fight villains.
Yeah, those are 2 different kind of things.
Yeah. And so whenever you register for power use, it's all about showing that you are able to control your power, whatever form it may take. And I think that would be an important... In the real world, if people had powers, I think that that's something that they would definitely do. You know, if
that's something that's important to know, is if you're able to control yourself.
Yeah, because you don't want someone who can torch a city block just running around out there. But I think whenever Dante did it, he was like, oh, I can do this? I wonder what else I can do.
Yeah.
It was like it opened his eyes to how powerful he really was. And so he joined up with a group of, radicals who, they're called the Zealots. And they follow this villain named Everlong, who he, of course, in reference to the song. He is basically like fueled by pain. So his power is the more pain he is in, the physically stronger he becomes. He becomes stronger, faster, more durable, heals faster. So there's like a sweet spot where he has to like maintain for his power, so he doesn't just like recover immediately from the damage that he's doing.
Yeah.
And I also kind of designed him based off of, I can't remember who it is in Slipknot, but one of the dudes has like needles all over his mask.
Yeah, I know.
And I designed him to be kind of like that. It's like he has like a band that go over where his eyes would be, like a band of spikes that go over where his eyes would be,
right.
And then a band that goes over the top of his head.
That's cool. He's a spiky boy.
Yeah. But basically, Scorch joins up with these guys. And these guys are the main villain faction. The Zealots. And Scorch is... Dante is one of the five, like, commanders. So the head of the organization is Everlong, but he has 5 people underneath him who are all, like, his generals, basically.
Okay.
And they basically do whatever they can to, liberate supers from the quote-unquote oppression that they are facing in normal society.
They're real oppressed.
But, obviously a main motivation for the writing of Everlong was Magneto, just because I feel like it is a very compelling thing to have a villain who believes that they are right and also kind of has a point. Like, if these people are born with their powers, or, they come about them naturally, then who's to say that they shouldn't flex them? Except, morals and stuff.
Who needs morals?
So, Everlong, he just wants his kind to be able to express itself the way that, like, normal people do. Because, if you had the ability to run super fast, and you had to not, because other people couldn't, it's like...
You'd be like, what the fuck?
Yeah. So that's what he wants to do. It's like almost like a survival of the fittest type thing.
Yeah, I can
it's
do
like
it, you
the
can't.
strong should be able to thrive and show what they can do. And so that's why he has so many people on his side. That's why that's such a threat. So one of the other ones is a guy named Eddie West. And he has a power called Burnout, which is basically super speed, but at the cost of his, like, physical well-being.
Huh.
But he has a secondary ability where he can steal speed from other people. Like, he can steal their energy, basically. And he uses it to keep himself whole. So, as opposed to degenerating like he normally would, he can steal someone else's speed, and for a short time he'll be normal again. And it also makes him faster.
Fast boy.
Yeah. So he's like he is addicted to the physical act of running fast.
It's a crazy addiction.
Yeah, he is hooked. He just wants to go faster and faster and faster. And I think that's he's like a daredevil almost. You know, he's always in for the thrill of the run.
He needs the next thrill.
Yes, and he just keeps hitting that well until it's dry. Which, you know, it might never be. Because he's a crazy wackadoo.
Crazy fella.
Let me see, who else is a general? You also have there's a former hero. Her name is Domina. Let me see what's her real name. What's her real name? Oh, I should say I have another character based off of Spider-Man. Her name is Spinstress. And she is like she's basically Everlong's like personal assassin. And she has spider powers.
That's fun.
Yeah.
The spider powers.
I think I have written down exactly what powers they are, but they're not. I don't think she can spin webs, but she can stick to walls, and she has, you know, heightened reaction and stuff like that. But she also has venom, like a venomous bite. I'm pretty sure is what it is. Let's see, where was I? So yeah, Domina is she was like a former hero who got in my universe. There's a series of drugs that people can take to enhance their powers, and her power is that she could like switch between two forms, like a really strong form and then her normal human one. And so she basically exploits the drug to be in her super form all the time.
Okay, so she's just always super.
Yeah, and she almost doesn't really want to hang out with Everlong and his band of misfits or whatever.
His band of goofs.
Yeah, his band of goofs. So he's all, or she's like, she's really only there just because she feels like that's the only place she belongs anymore. Because Hero Society has shunned her for her, you know, exploiting of power-enhancing drugs, which are illegal, of course.
Just steroids.
Yeah.
Her PEDs.
Yeah. And she also, she is also married to a fella named Hurricane, who has like storm powers basically. And I was just like, you know what? Why not?
Yeah.
But I also feel that he was also shunned for drug abuse. But I feel like this, because I feel like drug use is a situation where a lot of people are criminalized, like, even if it's just like minor stuff. But it's just like, it's not necessarily them who are in the wrong, you know?
Yeah.
It's just like, if you do like heroin or something, you know, even once, then it's just like you're a slave to that need forever, basically. Yeah, and it's all because of one mistake.
Yeah, and people don't really look at it that way, but
people don't look at it that way. So that's kind of what I aim to do in having characters like this. It's just like, you know, try and humanize, trying to have a greater understanding of people. But another of the Everlong's generals is a fella named, his name is Kurt, and his villain name is Nirvana with an E.
Okay, Nirvana.
Yeah, and he has the ability to inflict pain in others. Just like...
He can just inflict pain.
Yeah, so like he can... It doesn't matter, like, regardless of durability, you know, it's just direct neuron stimulation of pain receptors.
Oh.
And he can crank it to the max. Literally just like, because obviously the worst pain in your life is not the worst possible pain.
Yeah.
You know, because there's still nerve sensors that aren't being tripped. He can trip those. He can trip it all. That's why he's so strong. That's why he's so powerful. All he needs to do is touch you, and then he can just like basically set it to the max and you're paralyzed in pain. You're literally just like a crumpled pile on the floor, regardless of your durability or healing or anything. You know, it's just raw pain. It's not damage that you can avoid. So that's also... He also, one of the reasons why Everlong has him in his corner is just so, you know, he can support Everlong himself.
Yeah.
But, so, there is also, I think that that's really most of the interesting villains. But yeah. So, I think that's most of the stuff. But yeah, so if you're listening to this and you like my ideas, or you have something that you could add or criticism, just hit me up, let me know.
Yeah, any sort of interaction's really nice.
Yeah, so it's getting kind of late.
Yeah.
I'm feeling a little tired. Yeah. I'm sure Paco is too.
I'm a sleepy boy.
So we wish you good night.
Yeah. Good night and farewell.
And we'll catch you guys tomorrow.
Yeah, bye-bye.
Oh, bye-bye. 10th episode spectacular. Going tomorrow. Bye-bye.